In this video, I'm going to replace these bifold doors with some sliding doors. And we're going to do it right now. If you've ever had bifold doors in your house, you'll know that they're not the best. I've used them before. For some situations, it's the best approach, but for these, we're just going to replace them with sliders because this is one of those situations where this is just not great. So you can see we have a broken handle here, and the biggest thing is this is just missing a piece. This is what happens over time, and your doors end up falling right out. This is really typical. So the only downside about putting sliding doors in something like this is now this is just about the size of what you're gonna have to get into the closet. And then you take this door, slide it this way, and same thing on the other side. But they will last a lot longer, and I like them a lot better. So, first step is to take these doors off, take all the hardware off, and then we can put the sliders in. To remove these doors, it's real easy. It's really easy if they just fall off like that other one did. But you want to have the door almost half open, and then right here, this screw, you want to loosen that. Like that, and then close the door, and it'll come right out. Now, before we take all this hardware off and throw it in the trash, I always recommend, before you do a project, to get the new product and make sure it's going to work and make sure you have it before you throw away the old one. So I'm going to measure this from here to here, 47 inches, which is perfect. So I'm going to get two 24-inch doors. I just want to measure the height, make sure when I get them, I'm getting the right ones. And the height is about 80.5. So two 24 by 80-inch doors should work. And then you get the sliding kit. You shouldn't have a hard time finding something if you already have bifolds in here because they kind of frame these openings the same way for either bifolds or sliders. Once you have the hardware kit and the doors, you can remove all the old hardware and get rid of it. I'll take this track down. This is actually two pieces. You can move this. This will come off. I'm going to take this piece off, and I'm actually doing a new floor here in case you notice that it changes, but the process is the same for any floor really. All I'm going to need for these doors are the doors themselves. I have two 24-inch by 80-inch blank panels. These are 6-panel doors. You can get whatever you want, but that's what was there, so that's what we're putting back. And a sliding door or bypass door hardware kit. Has the track, has the rollers, has the piece that goes on the bottom, the guide, and little doorknob type thingies along with the screws. These right here are the rollers. I'm gonna go ahead and put these on the doors. I don't need to worry about which ones go where first as long as I have the same ones on each door. So these right here say 3/8 on them. They have a 3/8 offset. That'll be important in a little bit. And then these ones are the 16th. So just put the same ones on each door. So I'm gonna take a look at these doors, and right here I can see some scuffing. So I'm just going to make sure that that goes on the inside because that side basically is never going to be seen. So in order to make sure that's on the inside, you put the brackets or the rollers on the inside. To make this easier, you could lay the door down, but I'm just going to stand it up and attach these. I'm going to measure 1.25 inches in from each side there and 1.25 inches right here. Now I'm going to hold my roller like this to that mark. I'm going to let it sit down just like that and attach this with my screws. You could probably pre-drill to make it easier. I think I'll be fine like this. You can see right here, this is adjustable. So I'm going to put one more screw right here, and then you can adjust it like this. I'm going to hold it down all the way to start. Tighten that down. Other side. 1 1/4 inch. Remember, make sure it's the same offset. 3/8 in this case, right here. And right here. Okay, do the same thing with the other door. 1 1/4 inch in. And 1 1/4 inch in. I have my 16th offset. Hold it down tight like that and screw it in. So the track that those wheels sit on gets installed like this. So this is facing this way, kind of like this, but I'm not gonna do that just yet. What I'm gonna do is flip it around and hold it up like this. And I'm gonna mark over here, as you can see, I already have the bottom of this track right here. But I've also made another mark right here, which is 3/4 of a difference. That is where the track would go if I remove this piece of pine. Because what I think happened was they had sliders here originally, and this was the original opening, and they bumped it down to put in those bifolds. So now we're going back to sliders. So I think I can remove this and not have to cut the doors down. But if this is the height of yours, I'll show you how to measure this in order to know if you have to cut the doors down. So now what I'm gonna do is measure from the bottom of one of the doors all the way up to the bottom of the wheel where it sits in that track, which would line up with this line. I'll hook on the bottom of the door and line this up here. If you look nice and straight, you can see that it's 80 3/8 to the bottom of the wheel. So remember that measurement. Now I'm gonna take the guide that sits on the bottom like this, the doors go in between, and you can see there's plenty of room here to play around with. If you need to cut this door down, you can cut extra. I would say anywhere from 1/8 to 1/2 inch, you should be safe cutting off of here. But I'm gonna put this down here, and I'm gonna sit my tape right here. 80 3/8 is the measurement we have. I'm gonna measure all the way up to the top and see what we got. If I was to measure to this line, keeping this piece of pine, I would have to cut the doors down. I would probably cut them to 79 5/8 to start. It's about an 1/8 inch extra. But in my case, I can remove that pine, and I think I'm gonna be good. 80 3/8 is right there as I lift that tape up a little bit. And if I have to cut it down afterwards, I can. But we're gonna install them and see if I actually have to. First, let's take this pine off. Tight. There we go. Now I'm gonna mark where to put the track. I'm gonna hold it back 1/8 of an inch, which is what this reveal is about. And then I'm gonna do a piece of 3/4 pine. I feel like that gives a better look. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm gonna measure from here, about 1 inch. That'll be 3/4, and then I'll have a little reveal here. The track will go right here. Do the same thing on the other side. 1 inch. In other circumstances, you would measure and mark on here and cut this piece, but for me, look at that. I'm just getting lucky here and not having to cut anything. So this is aluminum, and you can cut this a number of different ways. Chop saw, circular saw. I have cut them a lot with a Sawzall and a metal blade, but I don't have to cut this one. So I'm gonna hold it up to the line. It goes this way again. This facing that way, and I'm just going to center it by going like this and get some screws in it. These doors are just like any interior door, exterior door, 1 3/8. You can get 3/4 inch doors, but these are a lot more solid. You could use whatever you want, really. You could use plywood if you want. But just so you know, doors that are 1 3/8 wide, the 3/8 offset goes on the rear doors. Again, it doesn't matter which doors you put them on because they're the same, but now this has made this the rear door. If it was a 3/4 inch door, then the 3/8 would go on the front door. So This is the rear door. We're gonna hold it like this, and I'm gonna just bring it in like this and hook it on and put it in place. I'll give you a better view from the inside here. So on the inside, you can see, just tip the door out, hook it on just like that, and reverse to take it off, put it on. Super easy, and then when you let it go, it'll be locked into place. Before I put the other door on, I'm gonna put this right here and just hold it and make sure that this is gonna be good. Make sure I have enough room. It looks like I do. So, if you had to cut these doors down, it's just like cutting any interior door down. Measure from the bottom of that roller, make a mark on either side, mark it with a straight edge, and use some painter's tape so you don't mark the door up. Cut it with a circular saw. The bottom of this should be solid for about 1.5 inches. Anything past that, you're gonna have to fill in the bottom because it'll be hollow. But hopefully you don't have to do that. So we can hang the other door. To hang the other door, I just kind of lean on the back door like this, and then tilt it forward, tuck it up in here, same way, make sure it locks in, and then good. Now we can adjust the doors. So if you look right here, you can see there's a gap at the bottom, and up at the top, it's tight. So I know that I can drop this side down to make it even here. So let's check when we take these doors to this side. We got a big gap at the top. Luckily, these are out the same way. So if I drop it down here, it'll make it tight here, and then over here, it'll make it tight at the bottom. So let me go inside here and drop this down a bit. So on the back side here, I'm just gonna drop this one down, loosen this one, and then keep my hand on the door. Just drop it down slightly, and then tighten it back up. So we're tight on this side. We still have a gap on this side. Bunch of different things you could do. You could rip one side down or both sides, make it nice. You could split the difference so there's a gap on both sides, but not as big. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the knobs on the doors as though that is the way they should close. So I'll put a knob right here and make it tight on this side, and on the other side there'll be a gap. And then I'll do the same thing with this. The knob will go right here, but I'm gonna make it nice and tight on this side. And more than likely, I'm gonna have to cut that down. Let's adjust this one. A little too much. Something like that. That looks pretty good. Now that the doors are adjusted the way that I want them, what I always like to do is put a screw right here, nice and tight, so that way I know that it's not gonna drop because these can become loose. So I'll put one right here, right at the top, in order to try and avoid that. Okay, since I dropped these doors down to adjust them, this thing isn't even gonna go in there. And by the way, if you have carpet, you're probably gonna have to do a piece of 3/4 under here, put the screws in and suck this down tight. In my case, I have a plank floor, so I don't have to do that. So this is where it's gonna sit. So I'm just gonna take off 1/4 inch evenly on the bottom of these doors. Back one in first. The front. All right, let's check it. Test these both out. Make sure we got room. good. And that one's good. So now to attach this, you have these right here. This is gonna sit just like this. Just wanna make sure this is gonna work. So I'm gonna hold this right here, right to the edge of these doors. And then I'm gonna make a mark right here in case I lose my place. And then in fact, I can just take this out and put the doors all the way the other way. And then find my mark and line it up right there. And look at that, it's gonna be right at the edge here. So that's gonna be perfect. So I have my line for where this is going this way, but now I have to figure out where it's going this way. So if you look right here, from this edge to the door, I want that to be the same on the bottom. So as an extreme example, you wouldn't want to attach it like it is right there. You want it more like this. So I'm gonna measure the top. That looks like 1/4. And if I go to the other side, that's about 3/8. Let's go 1/4 inch on this side and see if it ends up being 3/8 on the other. So right there. Hold that. Again, I'll mark it in case I lose it. Check this side, and that's about a 1/2 inch. So yeah, that's a little close. So I think I am gonna go to my original mark. So it'll be 1/4 inch on this side, and then on the other side it's gonna be a 1/2 inch at the bottom and 3/8 at the top, which I'm totally fine with. Now we gotta figure out how to attach this. If you have a wooden subfloor, all you have to do is attach this with the screws provided. But with me, I have LVP over a concrete floor. There's a couple things that I could do. Since LVP does need to move around, what I could do is cut these screws so that they only go into the LVP. And as the LVP moves around, this bracket will move around too, but there is not a lot of screw that would go in there. So I'm gonna go with my other thought, and I'm gonna drill a bigger hole so that way the floor can still move around because it has to. And then I can drill into the concrete, use some concrete anchors, and attach it just a little loose so the floor can still move around. So I'm gonna hold my guide on the 2 marks that I made here, and then anywhere in that vicinity, as long as I get a screw in there. This bit is just slightly bigger than I actually need, so hopefully that'll give it enough room to move around. I'm gonna pull these doors out like this and drill just through the flooring. That's it here, right in the middle. Okay, change bits to a concrete bit. This in here, a screwdriver. Line it up, screws in. Okay. I think it's tight enough, but also loose enough so that this whole thing could move around if need be with the floor. So let's make this top look a little nicer. The gap between there is about 1.5 inches. Check in the middle, 1 3/8 inches. And then over here, 1 3/8 inches. So let's make that about 1 1/4 inches. Yeah. I want to make it even. So 1 1/4 inches by 47 1/8. Didn't feel like bringing a chop saw for one cut, so use a handsaw. Okay. Put this piece of pine in here. So this is a little too close on this side. Once they paint this, that's gonna swell up and it could stop the door from moving. Right here in the middle, it's fine. And then as I close this, it's fine. It's even on that side for whatever reason. So over here, I'm gonna just take off that much to nothing right here. That's better. Nice and even. And we can caulk this in. Cool. Shoot that in place. And this is totally optional, but I think it's a much cleaner look. I had this cute little tube of caulking left over, so we'll use that up. And just fill these nail holes. Get it all ready for paint. Okay, now I can put these doors where I want them to go. That and like that. And we can put the little door pull on. So these are the little pulls. I'm gonna put them on right here. You gotta drill a hole. I'm gonna mark center. Where I'm gonna go is center of this right here and center of this right here. So in between here, that's 4 1/8. So 2 1/16 is center. And then this is 6 7/8. 3 3/8. Go right here. 3 3/8 right here. So center is in between those. Use something straight. 3, yeah, about 3 1/2 to here. Okay, so this is the center. That's where I'm going to drill my hole for the pull. I'll do the same thing on the other side. 3 1/2, just a little shy. 4 1/8, 2 1/16. So I looked up online for what size these were. It said 7/8. It looks more like 3/4. So I'm going to test on this piece to make sure it's going to work, because they're just a pressure fit. So I don't want to put it in there and have it fall right out. So let's check here. Not gonna work. I need a 3/4 inch drill bit. Yeah. So I don't want to go all the way through the door. Just about there. So just until it touches the top of the 3. You could also mark it with some tape if you want. But I want to go at least to there. So let's see. Right in the center. That'll do. Hammer. Just tap it in there evenly. Nice. That's it. Do the other side. This one. It's a nice floor. Wow, who did this floor? It all depends on your preference, but I like sliding doors or bypass doors way better than I do bifolds. And as you saw, those old ones were kind of junk anyways. So hopefully they'll be happy with this. I'm happy, really easy install. And I hope it helped you if you're planning on doing this, or if you just wanted to watch. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Saw equals fan. Oh, there's a bee. Stab you, bee. Measured the wrong way. Woody putter. Make sure you cut some of this out, Lauren. Okay, good. Okay.
Good.
Okay. Okay, ready? Okay, ready?
Perfect. Okay.
Good. Ready?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, good way. Here we go. Ready? Okay, cut.
Yep.
Ready? Okay, cut. Cut. Okay.
Go. Okay. Yeah.
Good. All right.
Good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Check it out. This is the last thing. I gotta go to the store for a 3/4 inch drill bit. I found a 3/4 inch drill bit.